Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. I'd like to discuss a shaila I saw discussed in today's Shaila Shuvas for him, and sometimes you have to tweak it a little because not every situation it's answered in those svarim. So there is a sefer that discussed an interesting shaila. It's Friday afternoon, and business hours are over. So let's say it's past 5 o'clock. Now, that means that the people in the banks, the people in the stores are going home. So, and the next day, the goyim will come back tomorrow and work again tomorrow, whatever it is. So the question is, the business day is over. May a yid make a deposit in a bank machine Friday afternoon after hours? So what will happen is that eventually, Friday night, sometime during Shabbos, it's going to kick into his account that somebody's going to do some accounting, some work is going to be done, and he'll get his credit. It's after the business hours, but it's going to be done on Shabbos. Even though he makes the deposit in the bank machine or whatever he did it before Shabbos, obviously, because on Shabbos he wouldn't do so, but he's doing it he's placing the deposit in such a way that it's actually the transaction, some of the work is going to be done on Shabbos. Is there a problem? So one of the Svarim says a reason why this should be mutter. This is brought in Shilas Shuvas Chaya Levi, Chela Gimel Simei Lamed Aleph. He gives a heter like this. He says the person making the deposit, he doesn't need any malacha done. He just deposits the money, so the people in the bank should know, oh, there is money in this account, and they should not return any. They should not return any checks unpaid for. In other words, he's trying to save himself, so there might not even be any malacha even done. And that's the reason he gave a heter. The obvious question, as I saw other svarim ask, that's in a small shtetl where there's one bank and they do all the business themselves, and there's no hub where the bank, all the calculations the banks go to. Then maybe this answer is correct. But a typical situation of a bank where you make a deposit and the calculations go to the hub, and over there they sit down and they write it in and they put it in the computer, and all that is going to happen on Shabbos. It might be a completely different situation. Because you're putting it in after the business hours, you're going to cause that somebody's going to be doing some accounting, some form of ksiva on Shabbos. Is that a problem? That's different than his reason for a heter. So it's brought that perhaps the reason why it could be matir is the person making the deposit makes it Friday afternoon after business hours before Shabbos, correct? At that point, there's nothing going on. At that point, he didn't do anything wrong. And from there on, it's not he's insisting, he didn't instruct, he didn't make a shliach to do a malacha for him. It's no different than somebody putting out a letter in a post box, in a mailbox, and making a sign for the mailman, lifting the handle for the mailman to the mailman that comes tomorrow to see, hey, there's mail for me to pick up. As long as you're doing it before Shabbos and you don't insist, you don't instruct him to be your shliach, that shouldn't be a problem. There's no isser and doing so. And that might be the bigger reason of a heter why this may be done.